Elijah writes, let's effing go. I'm excited to see when Househack buys and where it buys. So I have a Househack update for you, and it's I'm not going to go into every single detail, but it's going to be a little bit of a shocker, I think. Our goal is not has been revised. Let's be clear about that. It's been revised from what our initial plans were, which was basically buy amazing properties, hodl, and do what we can to basically expand our ownership of real estate in the style of, let's say, an Invitation Homes, a Blackstone, you name it. It's something in that direction. What we've actually found is that is the low-hanging fruit. That is potentially the, I mean, I hate to say it, and this is not to be offensive to American Homes for Rent or Invitation Homes or whatever. That's the bare minimum that we're expecting for Househack is to basically operate like that, which those companies trade for 2 to 2.4 times book, depending on where the stock market is at the time. Househack right now is open for investors who are accredited at a 1-to-1 ratio, which is basically a massive discount to what you would normally expect for a normal sort of real estate holding company. But again, we realize that is the low-hanging fruit, and I'm a big fan of constantly revising. Some people like to say flip-flopping. I like to say revising and optimizing towards the most profitable structure. I am a massive fan of minimal risk and massive cash flow at businesses. Cash flow. I want more cash flow. And ultimately, more cash flow is really, really good for not only the company, but for employees and investors, because more cash flow means more company buybacks, more dividends. Warren Buffett just had a phenomenal piece on how great buybacks are for companies, and anybody deriding buybacks is either economically illiterate or basically aligned with a political agenda. And so what we've done is we've revised substantially the upper tier goal of what Househack could achieve. And I'll give a few samples, but basically it starts with the idea of how can you become the essentially Robin Hood of real estate, and how, or put another way, the Vanguard of real estate, right? Think of Vanguard as low cost index fund investing of your choice. Think of Robinhood as commission-free investing into stocks. How can we create that sort of company with Househack? And that starts by buying real estate, but it doesn't have to end at buying real estate. So what we found is really us shopping for real estate is just phase one of essentially our own, dare I borrow the term from Elon, the initial master plan of quote unquote of Househack. Which, if the initial plan is, hey, great, we raise money 1-to-1. Worst case scenario, we're valued like the competitors at a 2.5 to 1 ratio. Wow, that's a 2x, 1.5x, right? That's our thesis. Now, I want to be very clear about that. This is a startup. This video is not a solicitation. You invest in any startup, you could lose all your money, right? Things could go wrong. You got to read solicitations before you invest. Don't invest blindly. Okay, all that. We know that, okay? I'm just giving sort of my opinion, my thesis right now of our vision. So my vision is that's sort of like, again, bare minimum. That's like the low-hanging fruit. Like stuff would have to go really wrong to fail at that, to basically fail at competing with the Invitation Homes or whatever, because we can buy amazing properties in great areas, manage them relatively easily, and just the equity we build alone should be very, very valuable. But we're realizing the systems that we have and the tools that we have, or the software stack that we're building, whether that's in property management, renovation, deal finding, or even the referral network for deal finding that we're building out, the software stack alone, not something that you want to become reliant on, right? You don't want to pull off an open door where you blindly hire people to buy stuff off your software stack, and then you, in like an idiotic way, basically knock on the door of bankruptcy. But then again, that's because the risk management policies at Open Door are trash. I was just where was I? I was in Colorado Springs. I go through an Open Door listing, and what do I find? I find dead rats. Let me put it this way. out of the hundreds of homes that I've just been in the last few months, every single open door listing that I've been in, which is probably about 10, every single one of them is trashy. They're either dead bugs, it's been on the market for 6 months, that is. It's overpriced. I've seen dead rats in open door listings. I'm not making this stuff up. It's all on video. You look and the smoke detectors are beeping or they're thrown on the floor. Stuff's broken. The upgrades are cheesy and crappy and done. It's almost like the executives are sitting in their pedestal in some office somewhere at Open Door, and they're not actually getting on the ground and looking at their properties. Now, that's not to bag on Open Door, even though that's exactly what it is. It's to send a message to the CEOs of Open Door that, hey, y'all are failing. Maybe what y'all ought to do is wake up a little bit or go over to view your actual properties and see why they're not selling. See why the book value of your properties is continuously getting written down, and maybe then you'll realize why they're not selling, right? That's very important. So, how does Househack go from potentially the bare minimum to using our software stack and of course just hard work and efforts to creating potentially a $10+ billion company, right? That's the long run goal. How do we turn what we can do at Househack into something that is an order of a magnitude better than what a Fundrise could provide or Roofstock could provide? How can we provide something that's in a magnitude similar to what Robinhood did for real estate or for stocks and what Vanguard did for ETFs? How can we do that for real estate? And without getting too much into the weeds, because in the next about 60 days, we'll be releasing exactly that plan with sort of an outline of exactly what our plans are and sort of goal dates and such. But that's after we get our sort of green light from the SEC on raising money from non-accredited investors. Right now, you have to be accredited. We sort of have deadlines at the end of each month for investing that give you more warrants, which are like call options on the company, but not technically call options. Anyway, like today's February 27th, for example, one deadline expires tomorrow for Househack. But either way, the goal is, how do we go from basic idea, which we already have clearly established, that's easy mode, to really actually disrupting the real estate space in a way that nobody has before. And we think we found the answer to that. So we're extremely excited about what we can do with Househack. And the beauty is, to answer the question of, where's Househack going to buy, or what's Househack going to buy? The answer is probably, in the long term, going to be everything and everywhere. Now we'll start slowly. But the long-term goal is generating cash flow, not necessarily just, buy in one area and sit there, hold, and twiddle our thumbs. We think we've discovered a way to generate massive cash flow, which would enable us to basically create the Robinhood of real estate, or the Vanguard, ETFs of real estate. And that vision will actually be agnostic of where or what we buy. We could buy anywhere in the United States. We could buy, we'd have to have a subsidiary do it because of the new rules in Canada, but we could buy in Canada. We could buy commercial real estate. We could buy multifamily real estate. It really, the product doesn't matter anymore. It's kind of like, Robinhood or Vanguard don't tell you what to invest in. They give you the choice of what to invest in. And we have a way to do exactly that. So that's really exciting, because it means, if you want to invest in just multifamily, there's an opportunity to do that with us. If you want to invest in just high cash flow single family, there's a way to do that. So really, we're rotating from this idea of, okay, Househack's just going to buy $150 million worth of homes, and then we'll sit there and twiddle our thumbs. F that. That's like, to be frank, that's like bare minimum, right? That's the fallback plan. Let's put it that way. The grandiose visions we have are much stronger, and I'm not here to suggest that, it's a guarantee, oh, that's it, we're going to IPO as a Robinhood of real estate. There's a lot of work to do, and it's going to be very, very difficult. It's going to require scaling with a lot of smart people and hardworking people, and the next decade, hopefully less, maybe 7 years of scaling will be quite challenging, and it'll be fun because we'll be documenting all of that, almost all of that on YouTube here. But so there's a sort of a long answer to where will Househack be buying. It's actually really, really exciting, and we can't wait.